check, good. So I'm Max Duran, CWB Association Welding podcast. Today we have a really cool guest, Welding podcast.
The show is about to begin.
Hello and welcome to another special edition of the CWB Association podcast. My name is Max Duran and I'm here in beautiful Quebec City for the Skills Canada competitions. During the week, we're doing podcasts with all of Team Canada members, and today I have the special privilege of being with Olivia Sewell, Jewel, who's here from Nova Scotia, and she's representing the cooking department, or the cooking competition.
Yeah.
How you doing?
Really good, yeah. It's day 2 now, so we're into post-secondary competitions.
All right. So what is your role here at Skills?
Here at Skills, well, we're representing Team Canada, first of all, but today I am a floor judge. So you have tasting judges, you have floor judges for cooking. Floor judging is amazing because you get to see all the action, everything that's going on.
So what is the difference between a floor judge and a taste judge?
So tasting judges, you're basically judging presentation, the taste of the food. That's all you're seeing. You don't see any of the action. So that way it stays anonymous. You don't know who's cooking what. You just come back, you taste the food.
Blind
tasting almost, yeah. And then floor judging, there's a lot to do with floor judging. You know, you're judging sanitation, organization, efficiency, their menus. There's a lot.
There's a lot of pieces.
Yeah, lots of pieces.
So walk us through what the skills, I guess, genre of cooking is. You know, someone that's going into cooking, I'm sure there's like the chef, but then there's also restaurant management. There's a whole lot of pieces of this field, right?
100%, yeah.
And the cuisine arts have been kind of groundbreakers for a lot of the other skills in terms of the first program to have a Blue Seal program, one of the first programs to really have a Red Seal mentorship program. And the history, obviously, we've been eating since day one, right? So how big is it? How many people?
There's private chefing. There's recipe development. There's so many places you could be in this industry, and it's kind of great because, I don't know,
you can slide in and out of them as you want.
Yeah. That, and you can just find where you feel most comfortable working. Some people are like, oh, fine dining, not for me. But some people love banquet service, and it's just great that there's kind of something for everybody's personality.
So what's your personality? What do you like out of all of it?
Well, I'm more of a personal, dining chef. So more like a la carte service.
Special menus.
Service. Yeah.
And what's your, if someone needed to call Olivia, right, and they're like, this is the speciality that they're going to be like, I'm calling her, what would it be?
Well, because I work in an Italian restaurant, I'd have to say Italian. I love making pasta.
Like fresh homemade pasta.
Fresh homemade pasta.
Yeah.
Amazing sauce. Yeah. That's got to be my go-to.
You know, I've been here in Quebec a couple days now, and we haven't eaten in an Italian restaurant yet because we're trying to try out the local French stuff. But there's a lot of old school Italian restaurants in this area.
Is there? Yeah. I haven't been out yet. So
I guess you're all tied up. So when did you get here? How early on did you have to be here as Team Canada to be a part of this?
Yeah, so we drove up the day before opening ceremony, me and a couple of my coaches. And, opening ceremony was great. Team Canada came in.
Yeah.
I did a speech at opening ceremony, and that was my first time talking in front of that many people.
You did fantastic.
Yeah, representing Team Canada on stage was pretty cool.
It was.
Yep.
And with the preparations that you're doing, you're kind of here in kind of like a mentorship guidance role, but this is the precursor to the big show.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
This is huge. And then World Skills is...
Huger.
Is that a word?
I don't think so.
No. But yeah, exactly. But every skill that you see here, it relates right to World Skills. So everything that I'm learning being on the floor judging from a judge's perspective, not a competitor's perspective, it's very helpful.
Yeah, it's going to focus you in on those little details that you can't forget.
Yes, 100%. Yeah.
So as a world competitor, you have to be under the age of what, 24?
I believe it's 22 of the qualifying year.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
And so that's how old you are?
Yeah. So I was 21 when I qualified. I'll be 22 this summer. So
So how do you feel about being 22 and already being on this stage? Like, you've gone far. I'm sure lots of your friends back home in Nova Scotia are like, you're crazy.
Yeah, I have a huge support system.
Yeah.
A huge support system behind me. And yeah, I don't know. I think it's great because at the age I am, younger kids listen.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they're like, you're at that age where it's relatable. We can relate to you. Not that, they wouldn't listen to anybody above like 40.
I totally get what you mean.
Yeah. And I think it's great to be that kind of source of inspiration for other kids that want to go into trades, women that want to go into trades. I think it's pretty incredible, and I'm so happy that I get to be that person.
Well, the kids, you say, like, there's that relatability of being a young person, to younger people. But I think it's all in the spirit of what really apprenticeships are supposed to be, which is a chain of mentorship. There's people older than you with more experience that have helped you, and you are helping younger people, and that kind of just shifts down the line forever.
100%. Like, today I'm paired up with amazing chefs from all across Canada, and I'm getting different insights from each one of them, and I'm learning different things from each one of them. And yeah, so it's incredible. And those are things that I will pass down to next generations.
How was your journey to get to Team Canada? So you started out in Nova Scotia.
Yeah.
Was it a big fight provincially? Like, certain trades are bigger in certain provinces.
Yeah.
So was it up you against 30 or you against 2?
No. So the first year I provincially competed, which was in 2022, it was the first year rerunning it after COVID.
Oh, okay.
So it was a smaller group. I believe there was 3 of us competing. So I beat out 2 people provincially, who also did amazing, by the way.
Yeah. Well, you don't get to be anywhere near this unless you're pretty dedicated.
Yeah. And I'd say I'm pretty dedicated to it, that's for sure. But yeah, so that was first provincials, and then nationals. I placed bronze that year, and then I was like, obviously I'm going to do it again.
Yeah.
So I did it again, and it was a group of 4 of us, I believe, so still a pretty small group provincially, and then nationally. And
then what did it feel like coming from your first year of competing against 3 or 2 others? Then 4, and then you show up, and so 2023 last year was in Winnipeg, right? And what did it feel like walking into Winnipeg, being like, "Oh man, now this is for the Canadian"?
Yeah, because I believe there was like 10 or 11 of us competing, and these are all people who are the best of their province.
That's right.
There was a lot of pressure because I really wanted that gold medal. I knew this was my last year to do it, my last year to qualify, and when it happened, I just never felt anything like that before.
So for the competitors in your area, walk us through these 2 days of competition. So day 1, they show up, they get their safety talk, they get like, this is the layout of what you're going to be using. Then what do they got to do? What's day 1 look like? Yeah,
so it's actually just 1 day.
Okay.
So day 1 was secondary, and then today is post-secondary.
I see. Okay.
They changed it a little bit from last year, but so the morning today it's basically mise en place for their afternoon, which is when they're going to be presenting their appetizers, their mains, desserts. But we also throw in, some curveballs. So this morning they pulled a tart out of a hat, a random pressure test that they're going to have to stop cooking. I believe 10 a.m. they just have to make biscuits.
No, okay.
That's what was pulled this morning.
So like change gears, whatever you're doing, break out the flour and they can make any type of biscuit or a specific type of biscuit?
No, it's up to them. Like, we give them recipes as guidelines, but it's really wherever they want to go. There's certain outcomes they have to meet, like a diameter, how many there has to be.
There's a rubric for judging.
There's a rubric, yeah.
So, cooking can be creative. It can be very wide, but then there's also some very dialed in type of cooking, right? So when they're coming here to compete, how much space is there for them to be creative in designing what they want to make? And then how much of it is like, okay, no, this has to be this, like a creme brulee, and it's going to be the creme brulee. There's very specific things. Everyone knows what it's supposed to be. And, like stuff like that. Like,
totally. There's lots of room for creativity.
Yeah.
I'll take their main course today as example. It has to feature duck. And it has to feature 2 separate cooking methods of the duck. So lots of opportunities there for creativity. And then, there has to be a sauce on the plate. There has to be your starch on the plate. The utilization of 3 vegetables, all different cooking techniques for each.
Oh,
and
wow.
then you get your common table of all these ingredients that you could use. So.
Wow, that would be scary.
Yeah.
Because like, where do you start? I'm sure there's months, years of prep going to walking in and being like, this is my plan. This is what I'm going to do. And how much taste testing do you have to do leading in to know what the flavor you're chasing is?
Yeah, a lot. There's a lot of development that happens before the competition and a lot of like back and forth. And then you can get here and they might not even have that ingredient. They're subject to a percentage of change. So it's really just about adaptability and how well you can see which competitors know how to cook.
And is there like ever the day where it's like, let's make a take on a hot dog?
A deconstructed hot dog.
Because like, I mean, I've traveled around the world and every country has their own version of the hot dog.
Very true.
And I'm a foodie. Well, mainly because I just like to eat. But, you know, when you experience all these different foods and you think of what a chef needs to do, someone that works in a kitchen, there's so much more than just the finished product. There's all the steps that lead up to that. You know, through the apprenticeship system as in this world, you know, how does that work? Is it a 4-year apprenticeship? How do you work through those steps to get to like that top level?
Yeah, so for cooking, you have to go through your 3 blocks of apprenticeships. If you go through culinary school, at least for Nova Scotia, that counts as your first 2 blocks.
Okay.
And it also counts a good chunk of hours towards your total hours. I believe like 2,100 hours.
Okay, yeah, so you're halfway there almost.
Yeah. 5,400, I believe, in Nova Scotia's qualification of hours needed. And then if you want to challenge your Red Seal, of course, it's more.
Right.
Yeah.
And you don't have your Red Seal yet because it's one of the conditions of competing, right?
Yep.
Are you ready for it? Like as soon as this is done, you're going to go hammer that out and get on it? Yeah.
I'd really like to. Yeah, I think as soon as I come back from World Skills, I'd like to register.
In Lyon, France. Like
yes.
Wow. So the Red Skills on the plate.
Yep.
And then what do you want to do? You're working in an Italian restaurant right now. You know, where do you see yourself after this Red Seal and the rest?
I think after my Red Seal, like, there's so many different types of cuisine all over the world, and there's only things you can learn in different areas, different restaurants. So I think, you know, gaining my knowledge and like building up my skills is really the goal that I want to do afterwards. But eventually down the line, it would be really cool to run my own thing.
I feel like that's kind of the game that most people that enter this field is.
Yeah.
And it is in a lot of the apprenticeship fields, right? Because the apprenticeship program, the Red Seal program, the skilled trades, they always have that availability, that window where you can be an entrepreneur, right? And I feel like cooking is one of the ones that really kind of aims you towards it. We talked about the Blue Seal earlier. You know, the cooking chef's world was one of the first trades to develop the Blue Seal, which is basically business management of your trade, right? When you look at developing a restaurant, like, is this something you've been dreaming about since you were a kid?
No, not at all. I didn't get into cooking until I decided university was not my path.
Okay.
And I was like, I want to do a trade. I don't know what trade, but, you know, cooking interests me.
Yeah.
So we went with that and kind of just went from there.
So let's go back to the beginning then. You know, you're in high school, you're in Nova Scotia, and every high school kid gets that question they dread. What are you going to do when you're out of school? And no one knows, and everyone's kind of trying to give you a million opinions, right?
Yeah.
And what did you end up going into school for, university?
Yeah, so I was taking psychology. I think I was the COVID year, so everything was online, and I cannot learn behind a screen. I'm very much,
function,
visual action learner for sure. But I quickly realized, not my route. Trade school next year. Mom's always been a huge cook, so I've always been around the food and the development of food. So. And
how is that with the family? So you are going off to university. Everyone's like, hooray, Olivia's going to university because it's like a hooray thing. And
yes,
I get
of course.
It, right?
Yeah, it's a normal.
And then you're like, Mom, Dad, I don't think so. I don't think this is my path.
Yes.
Was there a bit of a shell shock there when you said I'm going to go into the trades and pick this?
Thankfully, not at all. My parents were super supportive. Dad is 100% trades all the way. So
good.
And Mom as well is a huge trades person. So.
And what about the industry in Nova Scotia? Like for the people that don't know the East Coast, I've been there, beautiful area. There's a lot of restaurants there. It's kind of, and good ones. Like it's kind of known for the quality of food. Do you feel that gives you kind of an edge here in the competitions to be like, I'm from a kind of a foodie place?
Yeah, no, I think it's great because Nova Scotia, we're like one of the smaller cities, obviously, but we're growing right now, and the industry is quickly expanding, and you see more and more wicked restaurants just opening up. Yeah.
And what about the Halifax Donair?
Don't get me started on Halifax Donair.
Do you know how to make one? Like legit?
I have never made Donair before.
Oh,
believe it or not, I know, and I'm from Halifax. But
and
delicious.
That sauce, like every time I'm there, I buy like a liter of it to bring back home.
So good.
Because it's so good.
Maybe it's something I should just never make. Like, it's just better.
Just don't touch it.
Just don't touch it.
Eat it.
Just eat it. Yeah, exactly.
Now, you get into the cooking program, year one, you go to do you're in culinary school, you said, where you take your level 1 and 2-ish. What was that like walking in? You know, your day one, you're like, wow, I made a big switch here.
Yeah.
From studying psychology, which is very theoretical, to now, hey, there's tools, there's things. Mm-hmm. What was that learning curve like for you?
It was different for sure. You know, like I get in there, I don't know how to hold a knife. I'm just like, it's all new to me. It's a very different type of learning from what you're doing your whole life, right? You're quickly going from like sitting down, writing papers to
on your
a
feet.
little bit of that, but you're just on your feet all day and you're learning stuff visually and I don't know, taking it in like on your own time. Like, does that make sense?
Yeah. No, it's you can't force yourself to learn at a different speed,
exactly,
right? You kind of you take it in as you can. Mm-hmm. And you're a woman in the trades coming into the cooking program. Are you well represented? Is there like lots of women in your class? Is there lots of men in your class? Like, what's the diversity look like in the cooking program?
It was like my class, I'd say, is a pretty good like 50-50 of like women and men. Mm-hmm. Overall, the industry is pretty male dominated. You see a lot of male chefs. It's definitely growing though. Like I feel like more and more women are joining the trade.
And you know, when people think about restaurants, it kind of comes up that there's this like it's very female centric in terms of the restaurant world, but in reality, I think it's the roles that are different, right? I think people look at servers and stuff like that, which is still part of the hospitality industry, right?
Yeah.
But that's not what you're interested in, right? You're interested in more of being the leader, being the leader behind the kitchen that's getting everything out. Is there a trend for more women in leadership roles in the culinary industry?
I think so, and especially like the restaurant that I'm at right now, Bar Kismet, just a small restaurant in Halifax. The owner and the executive chef, Annie, she's amazing. My sous chef, Lauren, amazing. I have lots of women in my kitchen who supportive. Not to say I don't love the men in my kitchen as well. Yeah. They're also great.
But you don't feel like it's an isolation thing? Like, I mean, when I look at the welding industry, we represent welding. Yeah. We're sitting at 4 to 5% women. Yeah. Which is an abysmal percentage, right? Yeah. And we have almost doubled the growth for women in the industry, but doubling a 1%, 2 times 1 is 1, right? Like, or 2. Like, wow, that was bad math. But you know what I mean? Like, it's a slow slog of getting the industry better represented. In your industry, it's a better representation?
I'd say so. Yeah, there's definitely more women in cooking. Like, if you take a look around this whole auditorium, you'd say that there's more women competing in cooking than probably anywhere else today. Yeah.
And what about the rest of the mentors, the judges? It's still good split, diverse?
They're all male. Oh. Yeah, but again, that's the industry that's changing, right?
Right.
Like, these are generations of chefs who are amazing, but mainly male dominated. But more and more, we're seeing more women going. Half the competitors are women.
And what are some of the, I guess, things that can be said about the culinary industry that would be an obstacle? Like, every trade has an obstacle. Like, this is the hard thing. This is the good thing. What are the things that are the hard parts in this industry?
Yeah, I mean, long hours, for sure. Yeah, you're on your feet all day. Late nights. Yeah. I'd say those are top 3.
Unless you're bakers.
And then it's early mornings.
Early mornings.
Exactly.
So I have a friend who's a Red Seal chef in Regina.
Yes.
And he went to Iran about a decade ago to learn a style of bread making, right? And he actually took a 1-year course on how to grind flours and mix flours and make bread from scratch. And I thought that was so interesting. And for him, he was like, oh, no, there's like a bazillion different branches in this industry you can follow if you want to go down it.
There's so many.
So like when you're talking about, that you love working in Italian restaurants and making fresh pasta.
Yes.
I'm sure there's a school for that if you wanted to go, or like an extra skill.
100%.
Right?
Yeah, there's literally schools for anything, any skill. Like, there's schools for chocolate if you want to just specialize in chocolate.
Oh,
there's like the bread making, like you said, exactly.
Yeah.
Like there's so many
facets.
Yeah, exactly, for any skill.
Yeah, and when you started going through your program in the culinary school, what was it that you liked the best right off the top? You're like, I'm in the right place.
That's a great question. I honestly think it was just the environment. Like it was just how, all the teachers cared about you. Like they wanted to see you do good, and it was constantly like this is wrong. This is how you can make it better. It was like a constant improvement of your skills, like every day.
Every day, yeah.
Also, every day it was something new. Like you were learning something new every day, and it was just right on track for me. I loved it, yeah. And then that's when I was approached to do these competitions that I've never heard of before, and I was like, sure, I've never competed in anything before. And
how did you feel being singled out like that? Like, I mean, you said it was a smaller group of competition, but there's still that moment where your instructor or an instructor comes up to you and says, Olivia, you're pretty good at this.
Yeah.
You know, have you thought about skills? And you're like, what?
Yeah, I'm like, what's
skills,
that?
Right?
Yeah.
And you must have felt at that moment like, A, that's pretty awesome that you're getting chosen, right? And B, what the heck am I going to get myself into?
Yeah, I didn't think it was going to be this. I didn't think it was going to be World Skills Lyon 2024.
Yeah.
But I just am so proud of myself from where I started. Looking back, I was 18 at the time. And I just never would have imagined that this is where it would have taken me saying yes that day to, sure, I'll do a little competition.
To fly across Canada and do all these amazing things, right?
Yeah, it's incredible. It's been a great journey.
How has this competition been in comparison to Winnipeg? And you have a different role from Winnipeg to here.
Totally.
How does it feel different? Do you look at it differently?
Yeah, so, when you're competing, it's just head down and you're just focused and welding right next to you. You don't hear any of it.
Yeah.
Or like automobiles like right next to you. Yeah, you don't hear any of it. You're just so focused.
Yeah.
So being on the other side of that floor and just like seeing everything that's going on and seeing all the students that are coming through and like watching all of these trades happening, it's been a way different experience, but also an equally great one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How distracting is the audience? I know that's part of the skills competition.
Yeah.
Like you have a bazillion distractions. How was that? Like Winnipeg was nuts.
Yeah.
Right.
There's a lot of kids.
Did you even notice?
No.
Like you're just, just giving her, right?
You're so dialed in that you don't see anything. Like all that you're doing is cooking, and that's it. Like just cook.
And what happens if you like get a cut or a burn or there is risks in cooking, right?
Yeah, I'm a pro at cutting myself and burning myself. It sucks because then you have to stop and there's the whole safety aspect and you have to go report it. You have to get properly bandaged and then you just lost
time,
5 minutes.
Yeah.
Then now you're behind 5 minutes.
And you may have to toss whatever you were doing at that moment.
Exactly,
right?
yeah. Whatever you're cutting.
And do you get those fancy kitchen bandages that I see people get? Like those really good... Kitchens always seem to have way better Band-Aids than other jobs. Like, I don't know if there's like a special Band-Aid supplier for kitchens, but...
Well, I'm not sure. I know some kitchens that just don't have Band-Aids, just super glue.
Oh, yes, yes. And that does not feel good.
No.
It works, but it feels
works.
terrible.
Yeah, totally.
What about the distractions of the other trades? Even just coming in. You compete for cooking in the provincial level, and you see the other trades going on. Then you get to nationals, and it's 800 competitors.
Yeah.
In 57 trades.
Yeah.
Before you dial in, and you're just taking in the venue.
Yeah.
What are you thinking?
I'm just like, this is incredible, right? Like that's the only thing that's like running through my mind. I didn't know there was this many trades, like, and there's even more than what's here, right? It's crazy, and I think it's just amazing to see how many young people are just wanting to excel in their skill, like wanting to push themselves and do stuff like this.
Well, and I hear that as a old guy, right?
Yeah.
All the time, like, these new generations, the new parts of, the new kids coming up, blah, 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 which I think is very cyclical in nature conversation. But there's this idea that they don't work as hard. They don't care as much. They're not as, focused or ambitious. I don't buy it.
I don't buy it
because
either.
I'm a part of these worlds.
Yeah.
Right. And I say to anybody if you talk like that, if you think kids are lazy, come to a skills competition.
Yep.
And you'll see the elite, and you'll see like 18-year-olds that are years ahead of someone that might be out in the industry 20 years because they're just so dialed in.
And I think that comes a lot with your passion. Like if you're passionate about what you do and you care about your work, you're just going to want to keep doing it. You're going to want to do better.
Yeah.
And you're going to want to work. You're going to want to keep pushing yourself.
Yeah. And there is a very competitive nature to the trades. I think sometimes that might scare people off a little bit because there is a sense in the trades that you never want to have a bad day, right? Or a bad moment. And if you do, you want to fix it ASAP.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Totally.
Like no one needs to see what just went down or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's a competition with yourself. Every dish needs to be
Every
good.
day, 100%.
Everything needs to be good. And there's a competition with the other people in the kitchen. Bobby's got the knife skills and so-and-so's got the whatever. They make the soups better than everybody. There's always that world of competition.
There is. My coaches always say, like, it's not if something goes wrong, it's when it goes wrong. And it's just all about how you adapt to that. Every night, obviously, at work, something's going to go wrong. Your sauce is going to split. Your meat's not cooked properly. And it's just like competition mode. It's just like,
move on.
How do I fix this?
Yeah.
What can I do?
Yeah. How do you hype the kids now? And I say kids, you're basically the same age as them. But
I'm a kid.
Right, but you're a mentor now. You're Team Canada. You're kind of leading this next gen. How do you hype them up when you see them come in, young and fresh and baby-faced? How do you get them going?
I think it's just all about, showing how much you care. Like, just being approachable, showing that you're happy with what you're doing and showing them all the great things about what you do. I went to a high school recently back in Nova Scotia, and I was talking to the kids about my journey, and it was just great to see how many of them were actually paying attention.
Taking it in.
And I was just like, this is awesome.
It is.
They all had questions for me, and I'm more than happy to just go into depth about anything that they have to ask, because I know I want to inspire people.
Well, and you had the same questions too once upon a time, right?
That was me, exactly.
Yeah. Now, in terms of skills, like we're here at Skills Canada, and we use the word skills all the time. From you, quitting university, I shouldn't say, that doesn't sound nice, but deciding not to go with the university route, deciding to go into the trades, what are some of the skills? Like if you had to give advice to someone that's looking to get into the culinary arts, what are the one or two skills that you would really recommend they think about or hone in on going into this game?
I think time management is a huge one. Time management, adaptability, creativity is pretty important in my industry as well.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then what about personally you? What was the skill that you really had to be like, I got to get better at this? Like I might be good at these things, but this is the one that I'm holding me back, and I got to figure this out.
I think it was more just like staying organized. Yeah.
Just all the pieces and remembering where they go.
Exactly.
Yeah. And what's the future plan? Like, for in a skills world, you're going to go to Lyon.
Yep.
You're going to get first place.
Okay.
Right?
Yes.
You're going to try.
That's the plan. That's what's happening.
Yep. I mean, a medal excellence is still fantastic, but that first place would be nice.
It would be.
And you come back, you're kind of set. Like, I mean, I've been in the skills world for a number of years now, and people come back from World Skills to amazing jobs, amazing careers, a level of respect that they would have otherwise had to have been in the industry 20 years.
Yeah.
But you kind of just hammer it out in a couple.
100%. And it's amazing to look at my resume right now, and I'm like, whoa. Whoa. This is amazing.
What about your crew back home? What do they think about what you're doing? Your friends, like...
They're so supportive. They all watched my speech last night, live streamed it, and immediately just like, we're so proud of you. Like, you inspire us. Like, I couldn't be more thankful for my friends and my family.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
So for the rest of today, now you got post-secondary. They got to make some biscuits.
Yep.
What about for the people walking by? What do we get out of it? When's the right time to show up to maybe get a sample?
Unfortunately, you just get to smell it all.
Oh,
yeah,
man, you're killing us. You're killing us. Is there days that the teams get together and cook for public? Like, just curious, like I know the welding camps, they'll get together on the pre-things and then donate the things they make or whatever. Do you guys get to feed others in this training process?
All the time. And it's actually I've been having a wonderful training process. We've been fundraising money, and we've been putting on dinners for the public.
Oh, fun.
Brunches for the public.
Yeah.
So it's also great to have all these local people just come and support me, and they're getting good food out of it.
Yeah.
And it's great.
All right, last couple questions. What's the rest of Team Canada like? As a group, as the unit going over to France, how do you guys feel together, that clique you have?
I think overall we're all super proud of where we are. I think we're all super grateful to be on the team. We're all so passionate about what we do. We're a great team. I can't wait. I can't wait to travel with them.
And have you ever been to a Worlds before?
No.
Like even as a spectator?
No.
It's wild.
I've heard.
It's this times 10.
I know.
Like, it's unreal.
I can't even picture how big that space is going to be.
Yeah, it's it takes more than a day to see it all.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, even just a walk, it's more than a day.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Because at the big World Skills, they do have way more of the trades. Like, almost all of them are there. I think it's 87 or something like that.
Insane.
Yeah, that's insane.
Crazy.
Are you nervous about that? Or you think you'll just dial in like before?
Oh, I'm definitely nervous. I know I'll definitely hit my zone, and I'll just, dial right in. But I'm very nervous. I mean, there's going to be 50 competitors in cooking, so 50 different countries, the best from each country.
And that's 50 kitchens.
Yeah, 50 little kitchen setups.
Right? Like, just that space alone is probably this hall.
I know. It's insane. I'm very nervous, but also very excited.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Olivia. What would you like to say to, just any competitors or anybody thinking about getting into the skills game, to wrap up the interview?
I think if you're thinking of it, do it.
Yeah.
If that's totally how you learn, if you like doing hands-on work and you like learning new skills every day, just do it. Don't be scared.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I would just add to that if you are scared, there's a lot of support. There's
so
a
much
lot of support.
Yeah, so many outlets. It's something that I don't regret doing at all.
Awesome. Any shout-outs to anybody?
No shout-outs.
No shout-outs. All right. Well, thank you very much, Olivia, for being on the show today. Good luck in Lyon, France. If I'm not there, I'll be there in spirit thinking of you, and good luck to all the competitors in the culinary arts this week, and it's going to be super fun to see closing ceremonies.
Great. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Have a great day.
We hope you enjoyed the show.